Range values of primitive data types in Java. In the table we can see the range of values of the primitives types, as well as the size in bytes that each primitive type occupies. These ranges are important to determine the maximum or minimum size that a certain type can store. Strings in Java. In Java, string handling is an object type, but it has several characteristics in particular. Although we do not yet detail the handling of objects, but it should be mentioned that in Java it's necessary to use the new operator to create a new object. However, when we talk about the strings, this is not necessary. We can simply declare a string type and assign a string value directly to this variable, which is why it seems that the string type is a primitive type, but is not. However, due to the frequent use of this type at the time of programming, is that it was decided to simplify the process of creating and assigning values to this type string in particular. For example, strings greeting equals hello world. We can see that to declare a string in Java, you only need to use the string type, later define its name, identifier, and finally assign a value, without the need to use the new operator. Thus, we can directly assign the value of a string, simply using double quotes to wrap the desired value. In Java, unlike other languages, overloading of operators is not allowed, which means that we cannot alter the function of operators to do what we want. However, there is an exception to this rule when we handle string types. When we use the plus operator in a string type, is detected in the operation. We say that we have the string context, and therefore instead of adding values, what Java does is concatenate the values that are in the operation. We'll see this later in an exercise, but it's important to note this point since it's another important simplification when using strings in Java. One of the most important details that we will study later is the way in which objects are compared in Java. However, in this section, we will only clarify that when using objects, the equals symbol is not used as the primitive types, but the equals method. In the case of strings, this will allow us to compare the content of the string. In the topic of objects, we will study this in more detail, but for now it's important to know this detail, so you know how to compare strings. In the table shown, we can observe the escape characters that are used when displaying messages in the standard output. These characters will be put into practice in the exercise that we are going to do next.